I'm trying to flow with some harmony, hit some higher notes. And I don't know if I'm supposed to cover your eyes, but I chose to hold your hand and watch the sunrise. Live within the gift, recognize the warnings, memorize the answers. This is a recording. I love you to the moon and back. There's nothing new about that. It's just a proven fact. And somewhere my dad is listening to the engine purr. And someday I'm gonna finish my verse. I inherited that free refills type thirst. I'm counting on my children to break this curse. It goes, I don't know how much time we have left, but I promise you that when I breathe my last breath, I'ma exhale and remember your birth. It's never too late to get some heaven on earth. I don't know how much time we have left, but I promise you that when I breathe my last breath, I'ma exhale and remember your birth. It's never too late to get some heaven on earth.
Right now, we're just enjoying some Bomb Shelter Radio.
Still chasing after gratification. At this point, I don't even know what that would take. Don't make a mess in your drawers just to get some applause. You don't want to be the bullet that your ex has dodged. Another bumper sticker, but it's enough to consider not to jump in the river. I could play the xylophone out of a pile of bones, but sometimes can't even find the stones to dial your phone. I built a whole kingdom out of styrofoam, and you can have it when I'm gone. I don't know how much time we have left, but I promise you that when I breathe my last breath, I'ma exhale and remember your birth. It's never too late to get some heaven on earth. I don't know how much time we have left, but I promise you that when I breathe my last breath.
We're going to be talking about the last couple weeks in pro wrestling. Talk a little bit about that WWE sale, UFC merger, the potential return of CM Punk. That is why I got on my Chicago Bullet Club hat, because I got a theory. Not Austin Theory, though. Different theory.
Shut up, I think you've had too much to speak. Give me the keys, plug the leak, or go take a little step off something steep. I might be a fuck up, but I wanna do splendid things. I mean, I want somebody to remember me and maybe drive me around in a limousine. I'm just joking, I'd rather drive myself, rather fly myself. Most time, rather be all by myself. A party of one, and I keep going for as long as the arteries pump. Don't start no junk. I'm not a thug, but I'm hardly a punk. And if it ain't the hard part of the month, throw your hands in the sky, sing the harmony once. Shut your pretty mouth. I got a window in my car. I can see it all. I don't trust no bit. Shut your pretty mouth. I got a window in my house. I can see it all. I don't trust no bit. Shut up, everybody shut up. I brought my own knife and fork. Stood up to address the court and said the kid's so hungry he'll eat the stork. I might be a fuck up, but I'm in the upper percentile. I try to put a smile on my face while the rest act so cold-blooded like a reptile. Gotta look over both the shoulders. This is not a secret, but they already know what you're not thinking.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
What's up?
Not much, man. Just I was chilling, listening to some Bomb Shelter FM.
I see that.
Yeah. I'm trying to be cool and listen to old school hip hop like you.
Oh, all right, cool.
Things from the late 1900s.
1900.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
late 1900s, like the 90s.
The 90s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wasn't alive then.
yeah, no, I just drove past your partner's street.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Neighborhood's getting sketchy.
I see that. But we good.
But that's what happens where you keep it real hood.
Nah, it's like a little quiet hood now, but it's not bad hood.
That's because all the OGs got old.
Yeah, that too. And people just,
OG is no longer original gangsta. It's older grandpa.
I got you.
Joe, you like my hat?
The Bullet Club. Oh, yeah, I do.
It's a Chicago Bullet Club hat.
Wait, the Chicago Bullet Club.
Yep. It was from Pro Wrestling Tees retail store. Whenever they had their retail store open in Chicago, they had these hats.
Okay.
But I'm wearing this hat for a very specific reason.
Let me get the return of CM Punk.
Yep. And I got a theory about Punk's return. You want to hear it?
Let's hear your theory.
I think CM Punk comes back, and he's the new leader of the Bullet Club. Because as you can see, the guy behind me, the cleaner, Kenny Omega, probably a good chance he goes to WWE when his contract's up, right? But anyway, you got Jay White now, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jay White's there, Juice Robinson's there, and, they're probably going to put off any interaction between Bullet Club and the Elite for a little bit, right? But, that's got to happen, right?
Here's my theory. I think the Bullet Club is going to die out. It's going to die out in AEW. So I think they're just going to go their separate ways. I think the Bullet Club is going to be like a New Japan thing. And when they come over here, it's going to die.
You don't think they can keep Bullet Club being for life?
I say for life in Japan, but over here, nah.
You don't think it'll work?
I know they can work it, but I don't think it's going to work out over here. It's better over there.
What if CM Punk joins Bullet Club to feud with the Elite?
He ain't like a group person, tell you the truth. CM Punk's not a group person.
No, he's really not. But, I mean, they're going to have him have some friends with him.
You got
Because the feud with the Elite has to kind of be the thing, right?
got FTR. That's my thing, FTR.
Well, I'm just going to say F the Revival.
There you go.
Hey, Joe, check this out.
Uh-huh. Help.
You can put money in this jar and help me go to SummerSlam.
Oh, I'm like, what the heck? Help send a boy to SummerSlam.
Hey, you put some money in there if you want to.
I got 25 cents. How'd that sound?
That's 25 cents more than what's in there right now, so that's good.
Okay, that's good.
So, I mean, what do you really think Bullet Club won't survive in AEW?
I really think he won't survive.
That wasn't the take I was expecting you to have. I'm going to go get the big guy.
All right. Hold on, let me right back. Oh,
Hey, big guy. What, Mark? It's your turn to get on. All right, dude.
big guy.
What's up, Joe?
What's up?
And what is up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to Don't Say the F Word, Pro Wrestling and Combat Sports Podcast, where we do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. It's been a minute.
I know. What?
It's been a minute.
Before
Been a
WrestleMania,
lot.
you know, WrestleMania took over, so you needed a break. You needed to recuperate. I ain't mad. You know.
Yeah. Mania came, it went. There was some good, there was some bad. Nothing awful, except for maybe Raw after Mania.
Mm-hmm.
I know you weren't a fan of Raw after Mania. We discussed that a little. What we haven't talked about is WWE getting sold.
How you pronounce it?
Endeavor.
There we go. Thank you. Yes. For what, $9 billion, I think it was?
So the valuation of WWE is the thing that I'm a little hung up on. I guess not necessarily WWE's valuation, but the idea that the UFC has a higher valuation than the WWE has.
They do?
They said that the UFC has essentially tripled in value since Endeavor purchased it in 2016. And they purchased it like $4.4 billion, I believe. So they're saying it's valued a little over $12 billion. And that WWE's valuation is 9 point whatever billion.
Mm-hmm.
On what planet is the UFC valued at a higher dollar amount than the WWE?
On the planet where they actually do physical fighting.
It doesn't mean there's more money. It doesn't mean there's more money.
I get it that it don't mean more money, but in some eyes, they rather see physical than non-physical matches, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's plenty of people who feel that way. There's plenty of people who pro wrestling is not their thing, and they'd rather, it's more MMA oriented. And when I first got into catch wrestling and submission grappling and training, I had a very hard time enjoying pro wrestling because I was doing jiu-jitsu, I was doing kickboxing, I was competing in MMA, and I had a hard time enjoying pro wrestling like I did when I was younger. And I get where people come from that perspective if they're just looking for sport. But with that, there are not as many people who are fans of the UFC as there are fans of WWE. Not today, not historically. And to have someone make that statement coming off of WrestleMania, where through a 4-day stretch, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the WWE put, what, 250,000 asses in seats?
Mm-hmm.
Back to back, same arena, 80,000 people. Most of them return ticket purchasers, and more than half of them couldn't see the action.
That is true. That's like the one reason why I want to go to Mania, but you have to pay pretty top dollar to get in that little clear view section that we can see the whole thing.
Yeah, it's gonna cost you. here's the thing: if you thousands of dollars to be floor level anywhere near anything for 2 nights,
Mhm.
no one's doing that for a UFC event. That's not going to happen. The UFC could never put 80,000 people in a stadium in the United States. They can never do it. I don't think they'd even come anywhere close, and let alone do it 2 nights in a row.
You're right. Mhm.
How could that company be worth more money?
I
So
would,
my question
I would say,
is the valuation of the UFC mythical, or did Vince undersell WWE?
I say just because I see a lot of pay-per-views of UFC and WWE, I'll say the only main reason why UFC is probably valued more is because you see more celebrities at their pay-per-view than you do at a WWE pay-per-view.
But
You can
most of those
get,
people probably aren't paying for tickets.
I know, but you look at Drake. He throws like millions on anybody who fight that he going for. Look at who else was there? Who else be there? Damn, it's on top of my head, but yeah, most celebrities put money down, bets. You can't really do that with WWE.
But the gambling part that doesn't generate revenue for Endeavor and for the UFC as a whole. So let's look historically. So the UFC as a company has existed since 1993. At that time, I mean, they're putting like 3,000 people in small little casinos and Indian reservations.
Yeah,
You look at the blow up of the UFC around 04, 05 with the Ultimate Fighter. You're still talking about a few thousand people at the Mirage in Vegas. So they were never. It was, and even though that's what's always talked about is live attendance gate pay-per-view buys. So we're talking. We only had the better part of 15 years, really. I mean, you call it 20 years, I guess, of the Dana White version of the UFC and Zuffa-owned UFC. Of
I
putting
forgot about.
thousands in casinos on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
In 1985, the WWE set an indoor attendance record in Detroit at the Silverdome for WrestleMania 3 for Hogan versus Andre. A 20-year head start of tens of thousands of more fans in arenas for big shows. So much money on pay-per-view or closed-circuit TV as it was back then. And this goes on for 20 years. 20-year head start of the UFC. You have all the licensing, all the characters, all the merchandising. You can walk into, just about anywhere. You're still going to see an Austin 316 shirt. You can still see guys like me wearing a Hulkamania shirt. You have all that nostalgia, all that money that comes in from all that, all the toys, the action figures, all those things.
Yeah.
On what planet is the UFC worth more money?
I really can't answer that.
Right?
I,
That seems like that could be bullshit.
or it could be because they're with one. You can bet UFC on DraftKings. They still got the little rerun shows on what is it? TNT or was it? It's one of those channels.
They have the UFC app that nobody uses. I feel like if that's a true valuation of the UFC, which you never really know with these corporations, what they take into account to decide a valuation of a company. Yeah, you could really say some of this shit's just made up numbers that they just want to say because they said it.
Or it's because UFC has less workers than WWE does. That's why you probably got more money.
Well, generally, evaluation doesn't take into account money going out. But the WWE puts on more shows. They generate more revenue. From anyone who's thinking sensibly, you would think they would generate more revenue.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, if that UFC valuation's fair, Vince undersold WWE to ensure he kept a job in WWE and couldn't be ousted.
I mean,
And which
that is his
if you're
baby.
a
It is
high
his
stake
baby.
shareholder, you got a legitimate gripe if he undersold the company.
Hey, all I know is my stock in WWE went up. So hey, I'm cool with that.
Hey, man, as long as you're making money. So, does the sale of the WWE concern you at all as a fan?
My thing is this. Now, if it's true what they say, that they're gonna go back to regular pay-per-views, take them off Peacock or whatever, they want you to do like that back to the whole $60 pay-per-view. I ain't gonna watch it. I really ain't.
I don't foresee them doing that.
But I don't think they're gonna do it. But I heard rumors, all rumors, but that's one thing that could come back.
Yeah, it could, but I would be surprised to see it. I would only be surprised to see it because I think there was a lot of pride taken by Vince and company to have been ahead of the curve with streaming and to be ahead of the curve with the WWE network and putting the premium content as part of the streaming service, which the UFC probably should have done with Fight Pass.
I thought they was gonna do
And,
it.
and here's the thing is that, like, people are just going to pirate it. Like, people will pay you at $5 a month, $10 a month for your streaming service if you're giving them something of value.
Mm-hmm.
You then decide to, especially in today's economy, if you then decide to take advantage of your fan base, you're never going to get ahead of people who want to get your content for free.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. Cody Rhodes said that he watched the AEW pay-per-view on a pirated stream.
I did see that.
You know, Dana White's made such a big deal about wanting to go after people who are pirating things, and you have a lot of stuff within the government right now trying to pass the TikTok ban with trying to have access to VPN usage and shit like that, which some of that's a little iffy on what people are reporting. But
I mean,
if you're trying to put your content out there and you want to overcharge your fan base, your fan base is still going to find a way to get that content, and they're not going to pay you.
I mean,
Don't
I know people.
make it hard for your customer base to give you money. Gotta be easy.
I know people who will be like this. They'll order it and then give that person their account and just say, "Hey, just give me like $5, $10. Bam, you have access to my account." And they can't stop that now.
I mean, we both know of, local establishments that would show UFC pay-per-views, and people would go there and they charge a cover charge and go in, watch the pay-per-view at these places. Why wouldn't I do that instead of paying $70 for a pay-per-view that today, if you look at the UFC as the example, because that's the pay-per-view like kingpin now since WWE stepped away.
Yeah.
There's no fight that can happen in the UFC that warrants $70 for me to watch it, except for possibly Stipe John Jones, and I don't believe that fight ever happens.
I mean, my thing is, who would want to pay $70 just for like 5 to 6 matches that could end in like 30 seconds?
Here's my
minute, 30 seconds to a minute. They can be done up with.
My thing is, who are the stars in the UFC that they think warrant them charging $70 for pay-per-view? And then they wonder why people are pirating their pay-per-views.
I don't really know who the star is in UFC. I really don't know who the stars are.
There's not one.
I just go, all I know is right now, John Jones is back in the picture, and that's like You could say he's the main star right now. See, that's the big topic, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but a lot of people aren't even aware that John's the heavyweight champ.
They're
A lot
right.
of people who are very casual fans aren't even aware that he won the heavyweight title.
For real?
But then, yeah, tons of people aren't aware. But then you throw in the fact that his greatest adversary was DC. Well, DC's retired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Stipe fight ever happens. The Francis fight, it's never going to happen. John Jones is the heavyweight champ, and he didn't beat the guy who's the heavyweight champ. Francis Ngannou's the heavyweight champ. He just didn't lose. He just chose to walk away because they wouldn't pay him what he thought he was worth.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has no job, but that's a different conversation.
That is true. You're right. You're right.
But I don't know. I just don't. I can't see WWE going back to the pay-per-view model like it was.
I mean, shoot. I'm okay paying my $10 a month.
Yeah,
$10.
and some people are. I'm 100% okay with it.
$10.61 every month. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I have no complaints over what the network provides. It definitely provides a quality product for the price, probably even sometimes more so. I think, but I don't believe that I'll never buy that's where all the money comes from is ticket sales and pay-per-view buys. It's all advertising. WrestleMania had over $20 million in advertising that weekend.
I mean, if I had a VPN right now, I'll just put it for UK and still have the regular WWE network and just watch.
Don't say that. You'll get yourself in trouble. Don't say that. You'll get yourself in trouble.
I'm just saying if I did. But
if you were so inclined to give a VPN that type of thing, and there's ways people do it. I'm not condoning. I'm not recommending. But, I mean, a Google search will tell you what you need to do.
that's right.
I think that the sale has the potential to do some decent things. I hope they don't move like WWE programming to ESPN. But I do think you'll see some crossover. They say there won't be any, but I'm sure you're going to see some crossover things happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think that at least gives an avenue for some of these UFC guys to cross over into doing something in WWE after their UFC career is over.
That is true. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on WWE programming after the night after Mania? Because night after Mania I don't think counts for anything. That was a mess, I guess.
I'm going to say, as of right now, the past 2 weeks, SmackDown's been better. SmackDown has been better. Raw, when my dad called me last Monday, he called me. He said, "That's Cody Rhodes, right? That's Dusty Rhodes' son, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's him." He's like, "Why didn't they just talk for 30 minutes? He ain't doing nothing."
Because what Cody does. Cody cuts promos, man.
I told him, that's what he do. He said, "That's just a waste of time right there. I'm sitting here waiting for something to happen. He just in there just talking and talking and talking. That ain't how they do it." I'm like, I watched it. He called in. I'll try and tell him what's going on. It's like they just talk as Dad's opinion. There's no more wrestling. They just talk. And you know what? I gotta agree with him. I actually have to agree with him. That's what you see. The first 10 minutes, what was it? It was good talking. Then you got another 10 minutes of wrestling, commercial, come back, talking. It's really Raw. Just been really like, I would say before WrestleMania, it was good. The past 2 weeks it's been.
Post WrestleMania, you generally have the reset of things. It's like we're starting a new season, and I think the problem is man, I'm not even too mad at the Brock Cody thing.
I'm still trying to figure out what's that got to do with anything just because Brock was on the first match.
Chop Scar said it's the usual Raw show: promo, commercial, match, commercial. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the formula for Raw. I think that AEW does it right with picture-in-picture. I think every wrestling show should just adopt the picture-in-picture thing. But, yeah, the picture-in-picture is always rest holds, and it's all the stalling things for the live show because you're at commercial break. But it still keeps you engaged in the product. It doesn't let you drift away.
But the thing about it is, you don't know how much you're paying to be on picture-in-picture.
Yeah, and I mean, there have been some things that have happened in picture-in-picture that advertisers weren't too fond of.
Yeah,
Domino's, Nick Gage, Pizza Cutter.
I mean, that was pretty good.
I thought that was hilarious.
I thought that, I mean, Domino sales did go up that next day, they went up. So they should be happy about that.
Yeah. But the Brock Cody thing, I'm okay with because here's what we established inside 24 hours with WrestleMania Night 2 and the Raw after Mania. Brock Lesnar's back to being a heel. You have to get there somehow.
I don't see
He's a heel. Brock's a heel.
He's not a heel.
He's going to get booed something crazy tomorrow night.
He is not going to get booed.
He's going to get booed. They're going to pop for the music. They're going to pop for the pyro. And then they're going to boo the shit out of Brock Lesnar.
No, hear me out. This is my opinion. He's going to come out. He's going to get cheered. He's going to tell everybody why he did it. And they still going to cheer for him. He going to call Cody a loser, this and that. They will still cheer for him. He is like, Brock is, I ain't going to say he's a heel or a good guy. He's like in the middle because you just don't know what he is right now. And right now, he is going to be like, what's it say? Like when Seth, after the whole Shield, then he fought Roman, Dean, then it became the Riddler looking guy, the Riddle guy. Look at him. You don't know what he is, heel or bad guy. They still cheer him. Boo him.
Well, Seth Rollins has gone so far into the evil heel thing that he's become so cool that people are going to cheer him. And so he's able to play both sides of the fence right now. Eventually, he'll probably have to go full babyface to chase the title because he's probably gonna be the guy who beats Roman Reigns.
I mean, if he holds on to that belt to WrestleMania 40, yes, he will be the guy.
I mean, do you think there's a way to pull the belt off Roman this year now?
I'm going to say with the draft. This is dumb. They're going to draft. Sounds crazy. It's probably going to be something stupid like the WWE champion will be on SmackDown. The Universal champion is on Raw. It's going to be something stupid like that. I can see it. They're going to split up the belt somehow.
You think you just use the draft as just in general, just we're going to take a belt off you because it's draft season. You pick what show you want to be on. We're taking one of these belts away.
I think that's what's going to be.
That's going to suck.
I think he's better on SmackDown. Raw, he's okay, but SmackDown's like his show now.
Yeah, SmackDown's the Roman Reigns show. And having him be the SmackDown guy leaves that door open to do the thing with The Rock if they ever do it, which I don't think it'll ever happen. but I I think now I think Seth is really the only option now to beat Roman. I may teeter back and forth between maybe saying Jey Uso could do it, but
I
I
just
don't know. I kind of feel like it has to be Seth now.
I don't think they could do it with Jay because Jay. I like the Usos, but they are better at the tag team than solo. They are
Yep.
better. They are better than tag team than solo. I mean, when his brother was out, main event Jay, yeah, he was good. I ain't gonna lie, he was good. But when his brother come back, you just can't see the two being solo. They got to be together.
Yeah, and there was a moment in time where I agreed with Mark the Monster and thinking that maybe Solo Sikoa would be the guy who'd break up the bloodline. And I felt like that only worked if we brought back The Rock and Solo's allegiance would be with The Rock and not with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I thoroughly believe the idea of bringing The Rock in any capacity is totally out the window. I don't see it happening. And man, I could be totally wrong. I may have to eat crow on this one day, but I just don't see it being The Rock coming in. I can't see Jey Uso being a world champion. I could see him doing something that costs Roman the title to have that feud after Roman loses.
I mean,
But
they did fight for the belt. Hell in a Cell 2020?
2021, I think.
Wait. 20.
Think.
20 or 21. It's one of them. It's one of them.
But I think it just has to be Seth Rollins. I can't see them building somebody else up to a level where you could put them in the main event against Roman and we believe it anymore. Because like Heyman did so many interviews, we talked about how with each guy, this was going to be the guy, and it's.
Yeah.
I don't want to think that the opportunity is totally missed with Cody, and I don't think it is because I do think Cody still becomes WWE champion. I still think he becomes the world champion. I think it does need to happen at WrestleMania, but I don't think he has to beat Roman for it. He could beat Seth for it at WrestleMania 40.
Or you know who could really do it? Just my opinion. I think it could be Gunther. I think it could be Gunther because, you know, he's doing this good run with that title, the IC title. He's making it good. But it's going to come to a point where he's going to feel like he's ready for the next step. The IC title.
You know, that's a different title conversation I think more people need to be having. Who the hell beats Gunther? I have ideas for who beats Roman. I don't have an idea for who beats Gunther.
You know who I'll go with?
Who?
I'll go Solo. That's what I'll go with. Because then, let's just say down the road, whatever, the bloodline gets all the belts back. They need that IC. And then they'll be like, what was it? What, the fifth faction that had, the 10th faction that had all the gold.
So, you're thinking, an Imperium bloodline kind of feud and Solo beats Gunther for the IC title.
Yeah, and then, bam. Usos get the belts back. Don't know from who, but they get it back. They just need that one belt.
So you're thinking that's how we have the bloodline back to being draped in gold. And Solo beating Gunther, I'm actually okay with if it's what's used to break Gunther out of the mid card. I think that's probably the best way to do it. It's not going to hurt Gunther to lose to Solo, to then turn around and have a bloodline feud where he gets to be in the ring with Roman.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, Solo might be the only person who could take the IC title off of Gunther, but it couldn't be the first match they had. Gunther needs to get one.
That's just my. That's who I think was gonna happen. I say Solo. I don't see nobody right now. I would say if they did rumor, they did bring the Street Profits up. I don't see nobody. I don't see none of them beating them. I really can't. I can't see Seth.
I really hope they don't break up the Street Profits.
I
I know they're going to have to eventually for Montez to have his solo run, but it doesn't have to be a confrontational split when the time comes. They can just have them start running their solo thing, or maybe split them up at the draft. They're going to split those guys up at the draft. That's how they're going to do the Street Profits.
I really don't. See, here's the thing. I really don't like when tag teams break up because, it's like when a tag team been a tag team for so long, you know the person, and then you know what's going to happen. But then when they break up, separate, it's always okay. For instance, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian. It was supposed to look. Now think about it. Everybody wanted to be mad. What happened? It was more Jeff. Everybody said Christian was the guy out of Edge and Christian. But who was it? It was mostly Edge.
It was Edge. Yeah.
And then what happened? Bam, they broke up, separated. It was like Matt was just like a nobody, but he was a mid-card guy. But he was the good one out of Jeff. In my opinion, he was really good. The version 1 versus Jeff Hardy.
Version 1 was cool.
The version 1 was the best one. I ain't gonna lie. I like that.
American Failure thinks that LA Knight could be the guy to be the IC champ. I think LA Knight's going to be Mr. Money in the Bank.
That's the rumor right now going around. He's the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, we had a short window of opportunity with LA Knight. He's not a young man.
I seen that. They said I don't know, I was reading something one day, and they said that he's 41, and some people don't see him being the WWE champion because of his age.
It sucks that that's the way it is, but man, it's really kind of the way it is. Not just in the company, but in the fan base too.
Yeah, the poll
I
like
think
80.
he could do something. I don't know. With Roman having the belts hostage, it's a problem because it's really good that we're not playing hot potato with the belts. Really, really good. But the problem is that gap of where Roman's at right now on his God run, and where everybody else is on the card, even your upper echelon of guys, the gap is still here. The only people coming close to that Roman ceiling is really Cody and Seth. That's it. Everybody else, the gap is monumental. So even LA Knight wins. Let's say we push LA Knight to the moon, and I'm a huge LA Knight fan. I was whenever he was Eli Drake. I liked him on NWA. The guy is really, really good. I'm a huge fan of his promos. If we strapped a rocket to him and we were going to shoot him to the moon, and we let him be the guy who beats Gunther and takes the IC title, or we do a ladder match or something, somehow he's IC champ, we have him do Money in the Bank and he gets the briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a scenario where he cashes in that briefcase on Roman Reigns and wins? Even heist of the century type scenario.
Well,
man, I have a hard time buying LA Knight defeats Roman Reigns.
Well, I know one thing. It won't be another WrestleMania one because Seth already made that one great. So,
yeah. It has to be a last man standing scenario with Roman and somebody else, and then he cashes in at the last second and takes the victory somehow. And again, if Seth beats Roman and Seth has the titles, I could see a potential LA Knight cash in while Seth just won a grueling match, hits something, pulls pulls off the victory and kicks off their feud to play hot potato with the belt then. But I can't. The LA Knight beating Roman Reigns.
Okay, here's my scenario. The only way it could happen if, for some odd, mysterious reason, Roman gets hurt. He gotta get surgery. He had pay-per-view. He's, I don't know, fighting somebody random. He wins. You know, he's still bummed out, hurt. And I'll say the only way it could happen is somebody knocked out all of the bloodline before the match. Like how they used to do it. Like in the beginning of the pay-per-view, you see somebody, Jay, knocked out. Bam, next is Jimmy. Last, Solo Sikoa. You know, Solo probably gonna be walking down to the aisle, like always just standing there, and then, you know, bam, match over with. Somebody come up, he jumped from the crowd. Boom, oh, briefcase. Boom. Then bam, Roman, he left alone. You know, dirt sheets are all saying Roman's injured. He got to take time off for like, what, 6 months? Let's say average 6 months. That's right there.
If Roman Reigns is injured and he has to take 6 months off, they're screwed.
But yeah, but that's like the minimum 6 months off if you got injured. You know,
Yeah.
3 to 6 months.
Everything is in the Roman Reigns basket, man. If Roman gets hurt and has to be off TV, it's a problem. It's a big, big problem.
I know, but
it would create a land of opportunity. But man, maybe that's the way you take the belts off Roman. Maybe we have a work injury. Maybe they got to work us on that. Maybe there isn't anyone who should be defeating Roman Reigns for the title. Maybe it should be Roman relinquishes the belts.
he can't say he taking time off. Like what you see him what?
He's super
Twice a month.
part-time, man.
He like twice a month. Twice a month, maybe.
Roman Reigns being so part-time is really smart. You can't have him in the ring every week. You can't risk him getting hurt. Because if he gets hurt, they're kind of screwed. But maybe faking the injury and having the work injury happen, and maybe it's a hard bump and he's concussed and he's got to relinquish the belt, so we're going to have a tournament or we're going to have something. Maybe that's the only way to really take the titles off of Roman when that time comes.
But I don't think they use that concussion because part-time. He could walk out the door, go home, and by concussion.
Roman don't got to defend every 30 days. I missed that rule. That was a good rule to have in place. I guess they could bring it back. Like, you haven't defended in 30 days, we're stripping you of the title.
I mean, they didn't do it to Brock. And he was only there, what, 4 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know how we get him off of Roman. Not anymore. I thought WrestleMania was Cody's moment. I really did.
I told you. I told you.
I know, but I just didn't know where. I'm still stumped. Like I said, I was okay with Cody not winning. I'm okay with Roman going after all these records. I'm okay with it. I really am. I just don't know how you finish it. I think it can only be Seth. I don't know that I think there's another good option. Doesn't mean that there's not one. I just can't think of it.
I'll just say, if it goes on to WrestleMania 40, if you got them belts to WrestleMania 40, that's a miracle. It's a blessing. Damn, that'd be like what? Yeah, about like another 1,000, 1,200, 200 days or so. If you make it to WrestleMania 40.
Oh, it's a lot. I don't know what that puts him at benchmark. I know for him to beat Bruno, he has to have him to like 2028.
That's too long. That ain't gonna happen.
360. I mean, that should not happen.
It's not gonna happen, and that's
too much for the modern era. You have a lot of people who right now already feel like the Roman situation is boring.
But you got to think.
I'm not one of those people. Do you feel like Roman being champ for this long is boring?
No, I mean, if you think about it, when that music hits, like him or not, they still cheer for him.
The ones are still up. So the only part of the current run that I don't like is that every victory is by interference. I think the last significant one he had that wasn't interference was whenever he beat Daniel Bryan and Edge at Mania when he smashed him and backed him. I don't think there was interference. I don't remember interference in that. But I think everything since then, it hasn't been clean victories. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have the bloodline interfere ever. I just think he has to look strong in some of his victories. There has to be ones where there's no shenanigans, there's no interference, there's no distraction. Roman Reigns is just the better guy. And I can't remember the last significant match where it came off that Roman was just the better guy, not that he had the better plan. I can't think of the last one.
Okay.
Finn?
No.
When he beat Finn, when he beat the Demon? But the rope broke.
He beat John Cena clean. He beat Cena clean.
Yeah. That was a year and a half ago. Right? It wasn't last summer. It wasn't 2022. That was 2021. That was almost 2 years ago he beat John Cena clean. Is his last title defense 2 years ago?
Yeah, Cena. Because Cena does that 1 year match. The break. Yeah.
So it's been 2 years since Roman Reigns beat someone to defend his titles on his own.
I'm just thinking back because you had the couple triple threats. You had the few Brocks. But that's the last one I could think of was Cena because he beat Cena clean.
Been 2 years almost.
That's when they got the crowds back in the arena and everything like that. So, yeah.
Be the most dominant world champion of the modern era. That probably shouldn't be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since the heel heat that he has kind of comes and goes.
I mean,
he's almost so much of a heel. He's almost become a babyface again. But the heel tactics are there for the victories. But man, he shouldn't need them for every victory.
Why not?
I understand, like some of these, they had to do it to break the fans' heart. They had to do it with Drew, which Drew McIntyre is a situation we got to follow up on. They had to do it with Sammy. They didn't have to do it with Cody. He could have just beat Cody clean at Mania. And I think had he just beat Cody clean, that may have been more heartbreaking to Cody Rhodes marks like myself than the way that it happened.
I mean,
especially if we weren't going for the rematch. If the story wasn't going to be we were going right back in and we were going to do the rematch, if we knew we were doing the Brock thing, Roman Reigns should have beat Cody Rhodes clean at WrestleMania 39. Because then the story is, on that night, Roman was just better. That could eat at Cody Rhodes for a year. That could motivate Cody Rhodes to win the Rumble again next year. That could motivate Cody Rhodes to win a main event Mania again against Roman, if that's the case next year.
Okay.
Then he could beat him.
But you want to know if I just found out today? The main reason why Cody didn't win. He about to go.
Why?
He about to go off to Hollywood to film.
I seen that he's probably that there's a chance he's going to be Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I can see that, but I mean, I don't know. For Roman ain't on TV every week. Go do a movie, but
Roman, he just okay. In my opinion, if Cody did go off to do Hollywood, cool, great, fine. He'll be like The Miz or Ziggler, just going off doing some films. Okay, would anybody care? Probably not. Now, if it was Roman, they would care because Roman made the belt better, good as a heel, good as the person he is now, better than just thrown in our face. Now, if he went off, he could take the belts, go do films, come right back. Nobody would care. But Cody, anybody else did that, they'd be like, "That's stupid. He shouldn't be the champion if you're gonna do that." Roman, I'm okay. I'll be okay if Roman did some films because technically it is part time, so he can do it.
yeah. Well, I mean, Dusty always wanted Cody to be an actor, so I mean that's inevitable. But I just wish he would have won. But that's just me being the fanboy. What do you think about the stuff going on with Drew McIntyre? You think he's leaving?
It's hard to say because his contract is coming up soon. Like,
I thought it wasn't up until the end of the year.
No. Okay, from what I got out of it, he has to resign it by the end of the year. But normally they do like 6 months in advance, so they resign. So technically, you would say his contract is really up June or July, maybe August the latest.
And then he would have 90 days of non-compete, which would mean like December. He could go someplace else.
Yeah, because technically that's why they do it 6 months in advance for their little contract deal because they want to work things out. And well, actually, if he ran out the contract, he wouldn't have to worry about the 90 days. So let's just say it is over in June or July. He'll be fine. He could walk in AEW tomorrow.
I don't think he does.
I'm just saying.
I think he resigns, but I think they work that angle of a contract issue or he's mad. They kind of do the MJF thing with Drew because Drew McIntyre needs to be lightly repackaged. He needs to stop coming out with the stupid sword because that's dumb. Real dumb.
My dad hates that. My dad, like, what's he gonna do with that damn knife? I'm like,
it doesn't make any sense. Why are you bringing a sword to the wrestling ring at all? It's a dumb prop. It's really dumb prop because his character is not a gimmick character like that. The Viking Raiders coming out with shields, it makes sense. The thing's kind of it's hokey. It's what they are. Drew McIntyre is not a guy who should have been walking out with a sword. And the fact that they have him walking out with a sword and he's never used it as a weapon doesn't make any sense. I think that they need to repackage Drew lightly and have him go back to being a Scottish psychopath. And if I had to pencil and I'm putting Drew McIntyre back on TV, I'm going to have him be the psychopath. I'm having him take the show hostage. I'm having him go right after Roman. I'm having it be, you talk about it's got to be someone who picks off each member of the bloodline so Roman's alone. I would have Drew McIntyre be that guy who not just picks off each member of the bloodline. Drew McIntyre should start off the show old school 90s Monday Night Raw, interrupt everything at the opening of the show in the ring with a microphone, and I'm going to pick my way through their roster, and I'm putting everyone in the hospital until I get my title shot. And have Drew just wiping people out. Have him do it through Raw. He leaves Raw in handcuffs. He shows up on SmackDown and does the exact same shit. And then they suspend him. And then he's not on TV at all. No one talks about Drew McIntyre. Shows up at the pay-per-view, interrupts the pay-per-view. Whoever it is we have Roman defend against, lays them both out. It ends in a no contest. We build to the next pay-per-view.
So you want to be like Kane when he got unmasked, went all super crazy.
Yeah. It should be like that. Kind of what Karrion Kross character should have been, but instead his wife fights all of his matches for him. Drew should be like a killer. He should change his in-ring style slightly to be a bit more violent and a bit more combat sport based.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Be that Drew McIntyre is just laying dudes out, and with no regard and no remorse, and he's hijacking shows, he's interrupting matches he has no business interrupting, just because he can, because who's going to stop him? And you could go hard in the paint, have it be a heel version. He could be taking opportunities away from baby faces, and it could be they cheer him initially because he wants Roman, but he could go about it in dastardly ways, and you can slowly turn Roman a little bit more face while he's just killing people.
Yes.
And then that's an opportunity. Then if you build Drew up like that, maybe he could be the guy. He probably still wouldn't be, but maybe he could be. It would at least be believable.
Go with that.
But I don't see him going to AEW. I think that the blacking out his social media, I truly believe that's a work. Really, really do. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the most interesting thing in the world is going to happen. He's going to pop up on Dynamite. And don't get me wrong, I think it'd be cool if it happens, but I just don't see it.
Only thing I could say, from what I've been hearing, the only reason why people want to go to AEW is because of less travel.
And that's slowly changing, though. They're doing house shows, and they're going to be adding that Saturday show, which may or may not just be for CM Punk. I don't really know what those stories are.
I just know that's what I've been hearing is less travel. That's why Dax Howard and all them resigned for another 4 years, because he said you have less time and spend time with family. So I get it. I ain't
less time on the road.
That's why a lot of people want to go to AEW.
And
they all get, yeah, I mean, you get paid the same. So what's the big deal?
I'm a shining example. If you're going to pay me the same money and I got to work less time, I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, maybe. But I don't know. Drew is very, very much a WWE-style wrestler.
Or you can go back to TNA.
Oh, man.
I mean,
Drew's too big to go to Impact. And I'm not shitting on Impact. I know there's a lot of people out there who are big Impact fans. I don't even know how to go about watching Impact or how to fit it into my wrestling watching, because I can't even fit NXT in. I didn't even watch Rampage yet this week. Did you watch Rampage on Friday?
I started watching Rampage. I mean, if it was like a Thursday night show, but really it's 60 minutes, 2-3 matches at the most. You get the reviews. They tape it in advance, so you already know the next day what's going to happen, so there's no point of watching it.
Yeah, I'm a little curious what the Saturday show is going to be. I kind of feel like they should get rid of Rampage and put more focus on the Saturday show. I hear it's going to be an 8 to 10 time slot, which...
Here's my thing. Who's going to be on Saturday night watching wrestling at 8 to 10? 8 to 10 is like a pay-per-view. Ain't nobody going to want to watch it on a Saturday night, especially the weekend, your day off. It's not going to get a lot of viewership. Maybe the first 2 episodes, yeah, you'll get a good sky ride. But after that,
I'll be watching it.
You'll be at Cedar Point. Quit tripping.
Not that late. I'm not at 8 o'clock at night, man.
Yeah, you'll be at Cedar Point watching the fireworks go off. Don't try that with me now.
But I can still watch it on my phone.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
But I think that I don't like the 8 to 10 time slot. I would do 6:05. The problem is West Coast, because if you do it 6 o'clock for the East Coast, it's 3 o'clock on the West Coast. And that's why they don't want to do it, because we lose out on all that West Coast viewership. Who gives a shit about the West Coast? I don't know.
If I was Tim, I would make it. I'll do the traditional Tuesday and Thursday. Move Dynamite to Tuesday, then whoever the new show Thursday.
And they can't move Dynamite off Wednesday. They had to chase NXT back to Tuesday. Well, you want them to go to Tuesday and kill NXT again?
Okay, if I was to do it, this is why I do it. This is perfect plan.
Isn't Impact on Thursdays? Is Thursdays the night for Impact?
Damn. Yeah. Thursday is Impact.
I think it is. I mean, I don't think you're really dealing with a lot of viewership issues. I don't think you're losing viewers to Impact. And again, I just don't know anyone who has time to. I mean, I don't. Off the top, Wrestling watches it, but I don't.
And
I don't even know where it's on. I don't know what channel it's on.
It's on
Is that an Access or something
Access.
like that? Is that it?
American Something. It's American Something channel. But also, they got to worry about the WWE pay-per-views premium live event. They now doing Saturdays. They're no more Sundays.
Yeah.
So if they were smart.
I think that's something they're probably not considering, because if my options are watching AEW Saturday programming or a premium live event from WWE, I'm tuning into the premium live event. There was a point in time in AEW's existence where that would not have been the case.
Yeah, no.
2019 AEW, I would have tuned into their weekly programming on a Saturday night over a WWE pay-per-view.
But remember, back then, our pay-per-view was Sunday night. They didn't really do Saturdays until what? 2020?
I think 2020 when the Saturday one started, I think.
That's when they had the two.
Be wrong on that, but I think we're right.
I think that's no. It was when, because COVID hit, and that's when they was going to start the 2-night event for the WrestleMania 2020. That's when they started doing Saturdays, and they start realizing that a lot of people liked it Saturdays more than Sundays.
Yeah, because a lot of people were off on Sunday. A lot of people work on Monday. They don't want to stay up late watching wrestling on Sunday night. So before we wrap this one up,
All right.
I have a question for you, because I seen something yesterday, a couple days ago, from Eric Bischoff, and basically Bischoff said that, you know, if you're a fan of what AEW is putting out there, then good for you. But he doesn't see anything good on AEW programming, that everything's flat, there's no stories, there's no interest. And over the last year, I've had those moments where I've kind of felt a little bit of the same. Not that harsh. But my question is this. Why does the internet wrestling community still put so much into what Eric Bischoff says about today's wrestling product? Now, I do think Bischoff knows a lot about business. I think he knows a lot about TV business as a whole. He did a TED Talk where he talked about mainstream media basically ripping off pro wrestling. I thought was a really great TED Talk. I think he has a good mind for business.
Okay.
However, when it comes to telling a story, did WCW under Eric Bischoff tell any? And his thing was he's talking about backstage drama. that AEW is lucky there's so much backstage drama because there's nothing good happening on TV. Did WCW under Eric Bischoff tell any great stories that did not have backstage drama holding those stories up?
Okay. Here's two things for this.
And don't tell me Goldberg's streak's a great story. That wasn't a great story.
No. It's not about the streak. Back then, he did have he had a few good stories. But the cons were, I'm getting to that part. When they first started the whole NWA Bash at the Beach, that whole story of the NWO, that was great. That was great. Scott Hall coming first.
So here's my thing, though. The NWO story itself is a backstage story. The difference was we didn't know we were getting worked in the beginning.
I know, that's why I was so good.
Internet then, what the internet is today, the NWO story doesn't even work like it worked then. Because it only worked because we thought it was backstage drama. So I almost think his best story, being the NWO story, which the invasion angle is a take on something from All Japan invading New Japan. So it is not an original Eazy-E idea, but okay, I'm going to give him the NWO story because I was for life. But I was so intrigued because I thought it was backstage. So I think it counts as backstage. When Hall came out and said, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here," we thought he was there from WWF. When we were wondering who was going to be the next person to jump ship and go to WCW and be part of the NWO, that compelling story was backstage drama. We invented a lot of that shit in our own heads. So his best story still had backstage drama. So for him to shit on AEW for the backstage drama being very compelling, everything he did was that.
But here's the reason why it was backstage drama. Because everybody in that contract could do whatever they wanted. That's the main reason.
And even though it became a shit show in WCW because everyone could do whatever they wanted and lose to whoever they wanted to and win and all that stuff, the train wreck that was late era WCW got the viewership because the backstage drama was such a hot mess. But what great stories did Eric Bischoff ever tell with WCW? And I'm not saying he didn't tell any. I'm just saying I can't think of any that didn't have a backstage piece. So one of my favorites was Chris Benoit, Kevin Sullivan. But I loved that feud because I always thought it was going to work its way into a shoot fight because
it really happened though. He stole
they kept happening. So their Falls Count Anywhere match at Clash of the Champions, I just thought at some point they were just literally going to beat the hell out of each other. That's why that story was so compelling. I can't think of a incredible story that was told in WCW under Eric Bischoff. It wasn't Disco Inferno. It wasn't Johnny B. Bad. The Horsemen in Bischoff's WCW, the only good Horseman story was the NWO feud, really? I mean, you had Brian Pillman, but Brian Pillman being a Horseman was just as implemented the backstage stuff of Pillman being crazy.
Wait. Did you forget about the cruiserweights? He brought in the cruiserweights. He made the cruiserweight division good.
He he stole those cruiserweights from ECW and had them do their same matches, but there wasn't a story.
But he brought in
the
talent.
Matches were fantastic.
They were good.
The cruiserweight division of WCW 96, 97, 98, some of the best professional wrestling you could ever see. But Eric Bischoff never wrote a story for those guys. There was never a story. No writer put together a story. They didn't do anything to tell us a story of those guys. Commentary a little bit. I would talk about their history of guys, of your Eddie Guerreros and your Psychosis. their history together, but they were never telling us a story. I don't think Eric Bischoff's ever really told a great pro wrestling story. And if someone can think of one, I'm all ears. Because there's got to be something on them just simply not remembering. But
you know what?
For the past 48 hours, I've tried to figure it out, and I can't think of what the hell it would be.
You know what? On the next episode, I'll come up with something.
All right.
On the next, I got to watch the network, so I'll find something.
All right. So if those of you watching this live, those of you who are tuned in on Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, on the website, next episode, my illegal brother-in-law is going to come at me with some good stories that WCW told while Bischoff was in charge that can give him the right to say something about the AEW stories right now as if he's given us something better at any point in time in wrestling. And do not go with Bischoff being a general manager in WWE because he had no creative control.
Okay.
That shit don't count.
I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. I don't care if it's corny to you, but it was good to me. I'm going to find something, going to go back and relive, and I'm going to find something that had something good. It could be even like a damn women's match, and you probably still ain't going to like it, but still, it could be a women's match.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not looking for just a match. Tons of great matches in WCW. I want a story, a good story that Bischoff told that wasn't layered with backstage elements.
Okay.
Because those things is what he's shitting on AEW about.
All right, this is what I'm going to do. I will eliminate anything dealing with the NWO as a storyline. Nothing to do with NWO. And that's gonna be the hard part. Really, it's gonna be a hard part.
That's gonna be difficult. That's tricky.
It's gonna be tricky, but trust me, I got to next Sunday. I got to Sunday. We good. I'm gonna find something. We good.
All right. You find something, or if anybody else finds something, what we're looking for is we're looking for a good WCW story that was told during the era of Eric Bischoff that gives him the right to say that AEW is lucky to have backstage drama because there's nothing good on their TV. I don't think of anything.
NWO will be eliminated.
No NWO.
No NWO.
So good luck figuring out a great story that I don't know, Disco Inferno and Alex Wright was telling. Maybe you can find you here to dig up some Dungeon of Doom. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Yeti would be a good one.
I will find something. And no NWO, my word. Nothing to do with NWO, Wolfpack, LWO, anything in that scenario.
All right. So if anybody else finds anything, send it to us. Send it to Don't Say F Word Podcast. You send it to my illegal brother-in-law, Joe. Let us know. A good WCW story under Eric Bischoff's control doesn't involve the NWO. And we'll see you guys later on in the week.
Peace.